Hello and welcome to Chrome Computing. In this video today we'll be looking at the Chromebook and viruses. Is the Chromebook safe from viruses? Yes it is. Can you get viruses on your Chromebook? No you can't. Now I know what you're thinking, you might be thinking, well hang on a second, there's such a thing as Android apps, so surely you can get viruses on Chromebooks. It's what other websites say. Well actually that's not true and I'll show you in the video coming up. So in today's video we'll be looking at why you do not need to worry about viruses when it comes to your Chromebook. It's simply not an issue for you. You do not need to worry about virus software protection, anything like that. If you get a Microsoft Windows computer for example, you'd have to buy some extra software, antivirus software. That is not needed on the Chromebook. If you do like the video, like below and subscribe to the channel for future videos. So let's get straight into it. So the Chromebook, it's Chrome OS, it's a very lightweight operating system and it has been designed to be 100% secure. There's no other computer that can say that's the case, but with the Chromebook it definitely is. First of all, when you open up your Chrome browser to surf the internet, it's immediately sandboxed. And what I mean by sandboxed is that that actual browser that you open and that tab is kept separate from everything else on the system, so it doesn't have any interaction with the Chrome OS operating system. It only has access to what it needs access to, and that's the same as if you have a Chrome browser. You can have a few browsers open, or you can have separate tabs open on your browser as well. Each individual tab are also individually sandboxed, so you can, in a way, you can look at sandboxing in a way of they're all in their own little containers. So every time you open up a Chrome browser, for example, and you go to a reputable website that you know well, which won't contain viruses, that is sandboxed. And then say if you do have the unfortunate situation where you open up another browser and you go to a website that does contain malicious software which you wasn't aware of, that is sandboxed from everything else. So even if it does have a virus, it simply cannot infect your computer. There's no possible way for it to do so. It can't communicate with Chrome OS and it cannot communicate with the other browser that's open. So what that means is, even if that's open in the background and then you open up more Chrome browser tabs and you're looking on all different types of websites, say for example you go onto your banking, even if you're on your banking, and we all want to keep our banking app secure obviously because it's where our money is kept, but even if you have that open and you've got another browser open with a virus in, there's no way that that can interact with that browser to see what you're doing. It's just not possible. So when it comes to browsing the internet with the Chromebook, you're 100% safe. The best thing is, this all happens automatically. There's nothing you have to do. So you may be thinking, what about Android apps? Now, I totally appreciate there has been a lot of information on the internet about Android apps, and I do get where that's come from. Previously, before we had Android apps on the Chromebook, you never installed programs on your Chromebook. And for a virus to work, it needs to be an executable file. What that means is you'd need to download a program that then installs a program on your actual computer. Now you don't do that with the Chromebook. Well, you didn't do that before Android apps come along. So I understand now you can install Android apps, and Android apps do install locally. So yes, you are installing a program on your Chromebook. Does that increase the risk? There's a marginal slight increase. However, with the same as when you're browsing on the internet, it's exactly the same with your Android apps. Every Android app you open is sandboxed. Therefore, it's in its tight sealed container away from any other Android app that you're using or any Chrome browser that you have open. What it also means is that they can't communicate with each other. So if you did have an Android app that was unfortunately written by someone who wanted to steal your information, that Android app could not communicate with that other Android app because it's in a sealed tight container. It's impossible. Now you do get Chrome app extensions which are a tad different, because a Chrome app extension is something that you use on your Chrome browser every day, and there's lots of apps available. Now you can sandbox every Chrome browser you open, but if every Chrome browser is open as your Chrome extension in that has a virus, then it's still sandboxed, but it's going to be on every single sandbox that you open. So you do need to be more careful about the type of Chrome extensions that you install on your Chrome browser. You know, this is the same with everything. It's the same with Android apps. Although you've got all this protection, you still need to make sure that you're trying to keep yourself as safe as possible. The best way of doing that is to install only Android apps from the Play Store that you trust. Luckily with the Chromebook, unless you're going into developer mode, it's not possible for you to install Android apps from any other location other than the Play Store. And Google and the Play Store has got really good over the last couple of years, making sure that all of the Android apps are safe to use. So it's very, very unlikely that you would actually ever come across an Android app that is a bit rogue. So that's one of the reasons why your Chromebook is really safe. Sandboxing for your Chrome browser and sandboxing for your Android apps. And also if you use Linux apps, they're also sandboxed, each one. So that's really keeping your computer safe. However, it doesn't stop there. With the Chromebook, there's also something called verified boot. Now what verified boot does is when the computer is turned off, the next time you turn your computer on, it does an automatic check of the operating system. If anything has changed on the operating system, which is unlikely, but let's just say, for example, an Android app did manage to get out of being sandboxed and it did corrupt your operating system, what verified boot does, it checks the Chrome OS operating system when it is launched every time, and if there's any modification to the Chrome OS operating system, it changes it back to how it should be, the original settings. So even if you got to a stage where your Chromebook somehow become infected with a virus, when you turn your computer off and you turn it back on, that verified boot would remove anything that had changed the operating system. So that's 2 layers of security, and it's why you don't need to worry about viruses on your Chromebook. It doesn't stop there either though. Because the great thing about Chrome OS, and it's why it's been taken off so much over the last few years, is that Google updates the operating system every 6 weeks. So every 6 weeks a new update comes out, and then that will deal with any security flaws that had been found. For example, if there was a major security flaw found, updates can be even as little as every 2 weeks if necessary. Now all of this happens in the background. You don't really need to worry about it. You don't need to worry about the virus protection. It all happens in the background. The verified boot happens in the background. The sandboxing happens in the background. You just won't realise. And what that means is you can continue to use the internet, you can continue to use Android apps and not have to worry about viruses on a Chromebook. And surely that's just a fantastic thing for all of us. So I hope that has put any concerns you had about the Chromebook and whether it's safe to one side, because it definitely is. You definitely don't need to worry about getting a virus on your Chromebook. Now, the reason why I say this is because there's actually some companies out there now who's creating antivirus software purposely for the Chromebook now that we've got Android apps. Now, I'm going to say this right now, you don't need it. It's simply there to try and get money from you. You do not need antivirus software, even if you install Android apps on your Chromebook. It's not necessary. So please don't go out there and spend any money on antivirus software, no matter what they tell you. It's simply not needed. And this is what's great about the Chromebook, Chromebox, anything that uses the Chrome OS operating system. It allows you to get on with what you want to do. It's the Chrome OS operating system. There's a few things what make it great, and that's it's fast, it's secure, and it's easy to use. And that's why so many people love the Chromebook. If you haven't moved over to the Chromebook yet, I think you definitely need to consider that it is the way to go when it comes to buying a new laptop. You know, forget the old Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows is full of viruses. If you want a computer that is virus free, then it's the Chromebook all the way. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, as I said earlier, please like the video, because it's the only way I get people to see the video on YouTube, and subscribe to the channel for extra videos. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and keep safe.